Ginu Joseph, Editor-in-Chief of Modern Plastics TV. Welcome to Modern Plastics TV, Mr. Rambhia. Mr. Rambhia is Managing Director of Premsons Plastics, and he's past President of AIPMA, All India Plastic Manufacturers Association, also on governing body of AIPMA, and now he's the Treasurer of PlastIndia Foundation. We welcome you and congratulate you for new designation. And now we will talk about the industry. This is Ginu Joseph, Editor of Modern Plastics TV. Mr. Jayesh Rambhia, welcome to Modern Plastics TV. It is nice to have you here. It is our pleasure to hear about the new announcement of PlastIndia Foundation. As you become the treasurer, we would like to ask you some questions. And Mr. Rambhia is also director for Premsons. It's a group of business which is in the industry for many years. Mr. Rambhia, could you please give our viewers a detail of the industry overview, current scenario, which will help people to understand how plastic industry is growing and how it is going to grow it further.
Consumption of plastic is really growing fast, and there is no doubt of future scope of the industry growth. The only major issue is related to single-use plastic, but because of some communication gap, instead of saying beat plastic pollution, which was programmed from UN Environment Program, people have started, especially politicians, started coming out with slogans against plastic industry. You cannot live without plastic even for 15 minutes. Your mobile phone is plastic. Can you live without touching your phone for 15 minutes? Automobile has plastic. All appliances has plastic. Your writing instruments have plastic. All healthcare and medical care cannot continue without plastic. The pipe fittings, plumbing, can you do without plastic? So per se, plastic is not a problem. But the image of plastic, only less than 2% of plastic is used to make thin polybag. Now, because of misconception of communication, instead of saying a slogan against thin plastic bag, the slogan is against plastic, which is much bigger sector. So even when people are enjoying the benefits of using plastic very, very widely, the image of plastic sector or the policy against the sector, the whole atmosphere, is really put question mark on the management of growth of plastic sector in India. The government PSUs make nearly 50% plastic of this country. And the government itself, all the government departments, municipalities, state government, center government, they themselves are consuming nearly 20 to 25% plastic produced in the country as products for infrastructure growth, for several other applications, railways. Even then, the government is not leading by example. They are not created extended packaging responsibility for their own departments, for their own PSUs. And suddenly, overnight, they have changed the rules of the game. The environment regulations changed. The way project affected people are compensated for putting new airport or putting new highways or putting new dam, we have demanded that policy affected people should also be compensated, because many single-use plastic companies which were legally running with all licenses, with PSU banks funding them, have been shut down by legislation. And that will make them go NPA, their account go NPA, unke ghar baar bik jayenge. So it's not something very happy scenario, and we are facing a huge challenge. And we are trying to represent to government at various levels, various authorities, But unfortunately, so far what we have seen is the deeper understanding of sector, deeper understanding of subject is not very widely understood. There are a lot of misunderstanding based on WhatsApp university forwards. So such things are not good for industry or economy.
Sir, as you said, NPA and closing down of business, I also get some calls, people asking me, is this industry going to survive? So how do you see this? There are so many jobs are losing because of this. And yesterday I got a call from somebody in recycling sector. They says that somebody came and fined us. Can you give us a solution? How do you see what is the solution? Collection system is not there. Then what is the solution?
UN Environment Program, which came out with beach plastic pollution as their theme subject this year, and India was their host for this launch of Environment Day on World Environment Day. India is using just 12 kg plastic per head per year. US is using 119 kgs. We are recycling nearly 60% plastic, which is world's best average for recycling, thanks to rag pickers and raddiwalas. So even when our per head usage is low, our recycling is highest. We have gone very fast to implement this report without following 10 steps that were described by UN Environment Program to follow, so that the impact on social impact initiative they should have taken, because ours is a large country. And more than 60% people in this country have income of less than $3 a day. Now suddenly you change packaging, you change rules. The cost of alternative packaging is higher. They can't afford it. India is the second largest producer of food in the world, but India is also home to the second largest population of hungry children. Every year India loses 500,000 children. They die due to malnutrition. We have 5 crore children whose body and mind growth has been stunted due to malnutrition. 40% of our food does not reach consumer. They get spoiled because of lack of infrastructure. Plastic packaging extends the life of the food. It makes food reach hungry. It is affordable. Now, without alternatives, such things are being challenged, and it is not wise to do so. US has rejected UNEP report. Japan has rejected it. China is implementing in slow pace. Europe is given a very long years of implementation. They are systematically following 10 steps so that the industry is not harmed. Unfortunately, in India, due to enthusiasm, without understanding subject, without giving alternatives to consumers, without giving time for industry to change over to different products, the ban has been implemented. Disposable products are banned, and now new disposable products which are coming from China made of bagasse and everything, 17,000 crore rupees worth of import is coming from China more due to the ban on disposal. One side, India is facing huge challenge in current account deficit. Our rupee is under pressure. And second side, because of sudden change direction, our economy is facing these challenges. So these are for policy makers, for lawmakers. They should understand, out of the 10-step process given by UNEP, there was recommendation that environment impact analysis of plastic should be done, and also environment impact analysis of alternate products required for packaging should be done. Only when it offers a better alternative. The same studies are available abroad. An abroad study says that plastic consumes the least amount of carbon footprint compared to paper, compared to textile, compared to glass, compared to metal. So in such situation, when people are banning plastic, replacing it with something else, will only come out with a bigger problem 5 years or 10 years down the line. So this is a major thing which has been happening, and we have time and again communicated to government that they should follow systematic process to save the trouble to consumers and to economy.
Sir, as our country doesn't have a waste segregation system, how do we, I don't know, I was talking to many, Out of this, everybody says we should have a solution for this source such segregation, or what is your opinion on this?
Um, Plastic waste management rules and solid waste management rules were notified by central government 2016. Those rules clearly state responsibility of municipalities to start waste segregation at source. From every household when they collect garbage, it's supposed to be separated by wet waste and dry waste. Wet waste is usually the kitchen waste or eatables, waste of food, which can be composted, and dry waste would be recyclables, paper, glass, plastic, metal. Unfortunately, hardly any municipality across country has implemented this directive even 2 years after it was notified by government. However, there are no consequences to municipalities and their officers for not doing the same. If the waste was separated at source, the recycling would become very easy. And if the waste is recycled, it becomes wealth to the country. It would generate jobs. It would generate cheap raw material for larger industries, keep churning out cheaper product for various different production. So government department themselves are not following the norms set up by central government, and every state government is coming out with its own version of legislation about to protect environment. The problem is India became one market under GST. All states, everything became one market. But due to the different rule of packaging applied across India, a typical manufacturer finds it difficult to make product for the entire country because every state has a different version of packaging rules available. We have requested central government to come out with a central legislation, which is a thorough legislation after every studies, after everything. Advantage would be then India can work as one market. Today, it's easier to get goods from China and sell in whole of India, but the goods from Daman or Vapi are being prevented to come into Maharashtra because the units have not been registered in Maharashtra Pollution Control Board. However, there is no provision to register manufacture from one state in all states of India. So these are, I would say, teething trouble. But these teething troubles are stopping industry in track. They are inconvenience to consumers, end users, and it's leading to a lot of heartburns, corruption, legal cases. This is not fair. This is not the way we expected country to become mighty that India is going to be in future. We got to be fair to people. It should be law, rule of law should be based on educated enforcement of law, educated making of law. Fatwas which come out without any basis, without any study and implementation, ground level reality, the officers themselves do not understand this implication of law, and what they are implementing in the at the ground level is very, very different and is very difficult. There's huge amount of confusion in end user as to what is banned and what is not banned. Between two cities, two municipalities, two officers, there are opinion differences. Such things are not fair to anybody concerned. And what we wish is that government should listen to people and help us solve the problem. When we pay 18% GST, when we pay nearly between 20 to 30% income tax, and average take home of any business is less than 5%. So please understand, government is our major partner in our businesses. We want government to take responsibility like a partner, because then it will be growth for everybody. India needs to be ready to provide, deploy world's largest workforce that India will become by 2025, productively employ a generation of young Indians for higher aspirations. We can only do it if we make it rewarding for business to set up and operate in India with ease of doing business, with making India successful. It can only happen when the current manufacturers are given the due respect, due space, and they are being heard to remove that difficulty and the change over to new system is little smoother, little easier. It will make life easier for everybody.
Sir, you are talking about GST, and I am aware that you are communicating with government and all the association, representing all the association across the country, and there were some changes happened because the effort of the industry association, especially you. Can you give some details about how it was and how you could able to communicate between government and the industry?
When GST started, many of our plastic products were rated at 28%, which was tremendously high taxation rate, which would have impacted industry in a very major manner. When the competing material, same product with competing material were taxed at 18%, plastic products were at 28%. We went around and we explained to the authorities, to ministers, central government, and ultimately around just before Gujarat election, it was declared that from 28% it is coming to 18%, and there was a major breakthrough. And I think with that, a major hurdle to growth has been removed. However, there are so many other issues we are still plaguing the industry. For example, there is little confusion about classification of some product within HS code. For example, our members from toy industry who are making PVC dough, now there is a advanced ruling which says it should be taxed under 18%, when toy sector itself was under 12%. So for last so much time, people have taxed it at 12%, and suddenly a pre-ruling says that it should be taxed at 18%. The fact is, excise department in earlier ruling had clearly said that this is a toy item, so should be charged at 12%. So such changes or such confusion means that there are a lot of retailers will be penalized, because consumers, they can't go back to consumer to ask for a higher rate. A lot of traders and a lot of manufacturers will come into trouble by retrospective effect of such changes in rate. This also leaves room for Inspector Raj and leading to corruption. As far as possible, if there was one country, one rate, such problem will vanish. Today, there are a lot of items which are being imported or exported out of India. And we have seen that same item imported in 2 or 3 different ports carry different HS code. And same item exported out of India, when it is received in different countries, is cleared under different HS code. So HS code classification is not so sacrosanct that you cannot, there cannot be a misunderstanding between different classification. Within the government department itself, if there were 4 officers, and if they go to a shop, and if they try to classify all product as per HS code, not all the listings will match to each other. And normally, officers try to put it under highest tax bracket. So such things will lead to problem. The second problem is refund of GST amount lying with government. In spite of repeated assurance, in the beginning, we were assured by Modi ji on television that without following any extra procedure, the exporter would get refund of that GST paid on export within 10 days. Instead of 10 days, it's more than 10 months, and people are still waiting for GST refund. And this puts pressure on working capital of exporters and SME, small and medium enterprises. Government should be prompt in addressing such issues without much paperwork, without much, because otherwise, शेर के मुंह से निवाला छीनना आसान है, गवर्नमेंट से रिफंड लेना ज़्यादा मुश्किल है. People have that experience, people have that understanding, and doesn't go well with ease of doing business, doesn't go well with Make in India. Prime Minister has a great dream for our country, but this little difficulty on ground level does give rise to heartburns to industry.
Sir, as PlastIndia is moving back to Pragati Maidan, Delhi, what message you want to give to the industry? And what kind of exhibition center coming up. Give us some information about what is going to come up.
Uh, Plast India is going back home. Pragati Maidan, especially new exhibition center, is going to be world-class exhibition center. India well deserves that. And this exhibition center would house Plast India bigger than ever. It's a larger space, better amenities. And I think it'll send positive message across the world because we have so many international exhibitors and visitors coming to India. And Delhi is capital of India. It has large capacity to absorb hotel rooms, absorb large amount of tourism which comes in due to Plast India. So it's a bigger city, more hotels, more amenities, more things for people to do for exhibitor and visitors. Even after show hours, they would have better quality of business or pleasure within mega city that Delhi is. So I think this is going to be, it has been received very well by exhibitors. Everybody is happy that we are going back home. And Pragati Maidan this will be the largest exhibition in Pragati Maidan. ITPO is very excited and they have assured us full support to house Plast India because this is a very prestigious event even for ITPO. So I think this is a positive move and everybody is happy about that. We are looking forward to a mega show.
Sir, as you become the treasurer of Plast India Foundation now, how do you feel and what message you want to give it to the industry?
I feel very happy. It's a big honor and it's also a big responsibility. I'm humbled. Plast India is a large organization where 9 associations from different stakeholders in plastic sector, we come together and work for Plast India. I've been serving Plast India board since 2012. So I'm well versed with Plast India. I'm well versed with my colleagues who work with me on Plast India on various projects. But this new responsibility surely brings new challenges because we have mega projects. Plast India University is a mega thing. It's a first university dedicated to plastic sector, coming out with in collaboration with the University of Lowell, US. And it's a big dream. So we're working hard on it. And we want to make sure that Plast India is able to lead plastic sector into better future for India to the world. Plastic industry is now going through a different phase of growth. We need to grow with responsibility. We have one planet. We are also citizens of this country. We must make sure that we have sustainable model of business. This will be win for industry, it will be win for the country, it will be win for planet. So don't just measure profit, develop your people, take care of a planet, and then measure profit. I think it's more sustainable, and that way we would win more hearts. Thank you.
Congratulations, sir, and thank you so much for being with Modern Plastics TV. We expect everything should go as per the discussion. All the best.